Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of The Expendable Show. I'm your host, The Expendable. No guest today. Shauna's working, I think. I don't know. But let's get to business. If you like watching my show, like, subscribe, and ding the bell. It's my favorite part. It's like a popularity contest. If you ding the bell, then it doesn't quite work out. Next, if you like reading books, please check out my book, The Swiss Effect. It's available everywhere books are sold, except for Books A Million, because they don't like books about the truth. Yeah, that's right. I called you out. Well, I know the truth, and it's in my book, The Swiss Effect. You can get it at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Walmart, and those are the major ones. A lot of other little bookstores online and stuff you can get it on, but those are the main three. It's basically about how Switzerland's evil, and I name all the power brokers, which brings a lot of negative attention to me somehow, but I don't mind. It just shows me I'm right. My last book was right too, but nobody took me seriously on that one. But that's my book. I highly enjoyed the research. I highly enjoyed, talking to people about it and, interviewing, a few journalists. Um, I'm really happy with the book, and I hope everybody enjoys reading it. Somebody from one of my old high school friends who was a German exchange student from Germany. She just sent me a picture today where she got her book in, and she was sitting on her couch reading it. I was like, oh, sweet. But yeah, that's my book. Now, and as always, screw England. I don't care about the crown, since they're so offended by me. Now, today we're going to talk about drones, because that is like all over everything. It doesn't matter what channel you put it on. We're talking about drones. So I did a kind of a semi-comprehensive dig into the whole drone situation just to see if I could see anything. So we're going to see if this is anything or is it something. So basically, the drones have been primarily spotted in like the New Jersey area, some in New York, even as far out as California and Oregon. So they're on the coastlines mainly. I'm not seeing any here in Atlanta, but yeah, I live right by Hartsfield Jackson Airport, so I see stuff flying in the air all day, every day. So all I see is airplanes, but nobody here is saying that they're seeing any drones. But on the 14th of this month, the Department of Defense put out a statement. It says some of the drones have been sighted over Picatinny Arsenal and Naval Weapons Station in New Jersey. So we know that it's nothing new. Pretty much everybody knows that it's happening in New Jersey. So the Joint Chiefs of Staff acknowledged there's been sightings of drones over 2 military installations in New Jersey. But they said that such sightings are typical. I didn't quite understand that whole saying, right? I don't understand that. How can those sightings of drones over military installations be typical? I would think that that's something that isn't supposed to be normal. So they've had confirmed sightings there. They said it's not a new issue for us. We've had to deal with drone incursions over our bases for quite a time now. It's something that we routinely respond to in each and every case when reporting is cited. So here's the deal with that. I get it. People are going to, well, hello from South Bend, Indiana. Don't worry, Pete Buttigieg is not here to destroy your city. Just kidding. So with the whole drone thing here, and the problem that I have with that is they talk about, oh, this is something that we're used to. Okay, I get that. People are going to take their amateur drones and they're going to fly them up and they're not going to realize that they're violating restricted airspace, whatever. But the one thing that I do want to make note is that these are clearly, obviously not, amateur drones. These drones are massive. I wouldn't want them back either. But these drones are big. They're massive. So I would think that to put these drones in that category in the amateur realm that's not fitting for what we're seeing. And I think that their statement on this is a little off base. And to me, that screams that the military does know something, and this is a deflection. It's just trying to say, oh, nothing to see here. As of right now, they're saying that there's no means to identify the drones or who owns them or where they came from, although there's a lot of conflicting stories out there on that, and we'll get into that here in a second. The Department of Defense went on to say, to date, we have no intelligence or observations that would indicate that they were aligned with a foreign actor or had malicious intent, but we don't know. We have not been able to locate or identify the operators of the points of origin. So how can you say that they're not a threat, but yet we don't know whose they are? We don't know what they're doing. That makes zero sense. And I think whoever writes these press releases for our government, how do they have a job? Like, how can you say one thing and then say the other in the very next sentence? That doesn't add up. So this is just more evidence to me that our government knows something and they're trying to deflect, and they're just not good at deflecting. So Homeland Security chimed in as well. They said that the drones appear to avoid detection by traditional methods such as helicopter and radio. So evidently they've tried to fly stuff up there towards them. I don't know how I haven't seen anybody try to fly anything up towards them, which tells me that they know what these are. I've seen amateur drone operators try to send their drones up, and the one I saw, it looked like it hit. Well, it was actually an orb. It hit this orb and then it crashed. So I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of videos online, so I don't know if all of them are true or if some of them are, bogus or CGI'd or AI'd, or you don't know anymore, man. This stuff is too realistic anymore. You used to be able to watch movies like the old Jurassic Park movies, and you could tell that there was like a CGI dinosaur on there. Now you can't tell no more. It's just that the technology is too good. You play a video game and it looks like you're playing a movie. So they've also spotted the drones flying over Bedminster Golf Course, which is owned by Donald Trump. The FBI states that the drones do not belong to the U.S. military and that foreign governments are not behind the objects. Now, this is another one for me because I don't believe that the FBI and our United States military share intelligence like that. I think if the military was doing something, then that's why the military did not make that statement, is because they won't lie. So if it was them coming out and saying, "Oh, that's not ours," I would probably believe that. But the FBI is speaking for the military, so that tells me, we all know about the FBI. They don't always tell the truth. So I'm starting to kind of add up these like misconceptions and like some of the misdirections and these things that they're doing. So it's telling me that we're looking at something that's more and more military, some military drills. So then you have the U.S. representative from New Jersey. He's a Republican, Chris Smith. He put out a statement that everybody freaked out about. He said, "We have the capability to shoot them down now, but to do it in a place where there wouldn't be a threat to anybody on the ground." So, the Democrats are like, "Well, we can't shoot these down." But now I'm seeing more and more as the days have gone by, the Democrats are starting to get on board and go, "Hey, we got to do something about this. It's kind of becoming a bipartisan issue now, where they're actually getting along with something and they're going, we should probably do something about these drones." I mean, there's a lot of them out there. I saw a map of where they're all at, and there's just hundreds of sightings of these drones all over the place. Another controversial statement was by U.S. Representative Jeff Van Drew from New Jersey. Now, granted, these are the New Jersey guys that are right in the middle of all this, so they're starting to panic a little bit. So Jeff Van Drew said that it's an Iranian mothership that's operating the drones. Now, he did come out and say, if somebody doesn't say something, then because at the time when he said it, the government was saying we don't know nothing about nothing. Well, he threw this statement out to bait the intelligence community to react to it. And they did, but they didn't really say much of anything. So we didn't really get anything out of that. But he still said it. It's not Iranian motherships. I would be highly surprised if Iran had even close to that kind of technology. Even New York's Governor Kathy Hochul, who I can't stand, but she said that the drone situation has gone too far and we need to do something about it. The FBI came out and said, well, some of these are manned aircraft. Okay. I believe it when I see it. FBI has some serious credibility issues. The Department of Homeland Security has stated at this point, we have not identified any basis for believing that there's any criminal activity involved, that there's any national security threat, that there's any particular public safety threat, or that there's a malicious foreign actor involved in these drones. Once again, they keep saying we don't know what they are or whose they are, but we keep putting out these statements that say, oh, there's nothing to worry about here. So it still leans me towards that this is a military drill, that they're doing something, testing out new technology or something. The Coast Guard even said that they had one of their rescue boats was followed by numerous drones. So they're reporting activity as well. Trump made a really strong statement and I like it. And I feel like it was a definitive, like either do this or do this. Stop telling us that's nothing. So Trump came out and he said, there's mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know and now. Otherwise, shoot them down. I agree with that. I think Trump is right about that. If this is a government drill, enough time's gone by. We can, if it's the military, they need to come out and say, hey, it's the military. We are doing a drill on some new experimental craft. Everybody just chill. And America will go back to normal and we'll stop messing with these things. I'm seeing people shooting at them now. You got these guys in New Jersey are shooting at the drones. We can't have that. Bullets do land somewhere. So, we need to get these guys to stop shooting at the drones. That's not going to help us. If it is something other than what we think it is, if it's ours, still don't shoot at them. But if they're not ours and there's something else, then I still don't like the idea of shooting at them. I'd rather our military neutralize them. Because we don't know. For me, I don't trust the government, what they're saying. If these are not ours, I don't trust that they know if there's weapons on there or not. Can these drones shoot anything? I saw a video today where a drone was shooting at something. Could be CGI'd, could be AI. I don't know. But I saw it. It looked kind of cool. Kind of looked like a Star Wars thing. But I mean, people are starting to use their imaginations out there. And I don't know if that's a good thing. They are saying that the drones are coming from the ocean, which I do believe that. I don't know if they're coming from a vessel that's sitting out there, or somebody said that they're coming out of the ocean, actually coming out of the ocean. I don't know if that's true. I don't think anybody's been able to confirm that. They did have one that fell out of the sky in New Jersey. So New Jersey does have, or the government does, because they jumped in there, that there is a drone that they do have. Now, we haven't heard anything about this drone, what they found or what it is. I'm sure if it's a drone that's from a country or even ours, we'll be able to quickly identify it just based upon serial numbers and whatnot on the parts, or the language that you tend to find some kind of piece of evidence on stuff like that that's going to tell you about roundabout where it came from. There are people saying that the drones are affecting clocks in cars and electronics. I don't know if that's the case. I'm seeing like random reports here and there. That, I mean, it could happen if they're up there testing something that could be, you know, maybe like EMP technology that's on these drones where they can kind of mess with, you know, electronics. I mean, I don't put it past our capabilities to do things like that. I think we're advanced enough to where we can target electronic devices from, you know, several hundreds of feet away. So I think that could be a plausible explanation. So going out of the drones, not so much. Oh yeah, I do have to cover. So there was a Chinese citizen. His name was Yin Pao Zhao. Did I say that right? Yin Pao Zhao. He was arrested for flying a drone over Vandenberg Space Force Base, taking aerial images. We can't have that. We can't have Chinese citizens flying drones over our Space Force facilities. I don't like that at all. I think, yeah, I'll get into it in a minute. You know, so what we've seen in the Biden administration, for one, they're not good at aerial intelligence or aerial surveillance or aerial anything. I don't understand how we've gone this far with so many incidences where we have things in our airspace that we cannot identify. We had the Chinese spy balloons. We've got these drones. You know, that I'm going to throw the China virus in there because that was something nobody could identify. We don't know where this came from. You know, I don't know how it happened. And, you know, we've got all these things the Biden administration has been responsible for that they waited way too long to act. And, you know, at first when the Chinese spy balloons came out, they're like, oh, these aren't threatening. Well, then we find out after one crashes that, oh, yeah, they do have some technology that they're spying and, you know, gridding things out with their spy balloons. So how do I trust the government with this lack of information that they're giving us, that they're actually right? I don't believe that. I don't believe they're telling us the truth. If it's something from China or if it's something from Russia, if it's something from Iran or Venezuela or whoever, you know, it could be from Zimbabwe. I don't know. But I think that the Biden intelligence community has turned into a laughing stock. I don't want to say that those folks are horrible at their job. I'm saying that they're doing their job under heavy restriction, and that's likely coming from the top. I don't like that. I don't think it's ever a good thing to try to instigate the American public to be in a panic mode. We don't really do good in those situations. You know, that's when things start getting shot at. You know, you start shooting at the drones because we're panicking. We don't want them drones flying over our property because technically that's when you own property, your property goes infinite up. So if something's flying over your property and you don't want it there, that's a problem. Technically, we should be able to lease out our airspace to the you know, like Delta and Southwest for flying through our airspace because your property is infinite. Which is something really weird to think about. So I've kind of narrowed this down to 4 different things that I think it potentially could be, and I'm leaning towards one way. The U.S. military is probably doing drills and testing out new technology. That's what makes sense to me. It also could be a foreign spy craft, judging by what the behavior of the Biden administration in the past, with them not knowing what something is. Then all of a sudden, oh, it's Chinese spy equipment. It could be a private citizen, although with the amount of drones we're seeing and the size of them, it would have to be a very wealthy private citizen. I mean, it could be a defense contractor testing out stuff too. I wouldn't put that past. So I guess there's 5. You know, a lot of people are wishful thinking that it's an extraterrestrial craft. I mean, I'm not going to lie, man. I'm ready for the aliens to show up. So I'm kind of like bro, let's just get this over with. Let's get these aliens on the ground so we know what we're dealing with. Because I feel like we're all ready to like scrap it out with somebody. Like we haven't had anybody really invade our country on the ground in a long time. So I think everybody's sitting around going, I hope these are some aliens, man, because I'm ready. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think alien craft would use drones like that. The close-ups I've seen, they do look like planes. Yeah, you have a point. He said, G-Bro says, why the nav lights? I'm gonna have to do some more thinking on that and researching some of the drone companies and see how they, they're not going to give you the blueprints of how they make them, but they'll explain like some of the parts that they have that we're visually able to see. So I'm going to have to look into that a little bit and see why those are there and why they're not on certain things. So I don't have an answer to that. But moving on from drones, that was like a big section of my show today was drones. I never thought I would care enough about drones, but here we are. Other news. So our lovely president, Donald Trump, our president-elect, was named Time Person of the Year. Every Democrat in America like melted on the spot. So I thought that was quite interesting, especially since we're seeing this shift happen in the big money of, all this liberal money, like you saw Mark Zuckerberg, now Jeff Bezos, they're all donating money to Donald Trump's transition. Why the change? Are they buying their immunity from the investigations? That's what I think is going on. I think we're going to see Mark Zuckerberg dodge the bullet. I think we're going to see Jeff Bezos dodge the bullet. Whereas Trump did just win the lawsuit, the civil suit against ABC and Mark Stephanopoulos, whatever his name is, that guy who talks way too much and thinks he's just a genius. But they had to pay Trump $15 million, which Trump is making them donate it to his presidential library. So I thought that was pretty nice. So we're having this shift, and it's just kind of freaking me out a little bit. And I think what it is these big money liberals are trying to get out of the way, and they're trying to buy their way out of the way. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the next, few months as Trump's transition team and Trump's, as these cabinet members start to get confirmed and put into place as to, who all Trump targets. Other news, Joe Biden pardoned, I think, 39 people. Like some of them were very, very bad people. The one was a Chinese guy, and he had so much kiddie porn. I don't understand Joe Biden's method behind who he picked to pardon, but it doesn't seem like either this guy was picked for a specific reason, or Joe didn't even look at the pardons. He just signed them, which I would be willing to bet that some of these people were specifically picked for specific reasons. I don't like it. Even some of the liberals are going, what are you doing, Joe? What are you doing? He's supposedly going to be pardoning more people. So we'll see what kind of monsters he lets out next. Let's go let out all the serial killers next, Joe. Let's do that. It just doesn't make sense. Then you get these super progressive liberals, Presley, the one that's in the squad, Ariana Presley. She was like rooting for her, like, yeah, pardon all of them. And then the news reporter I watched, she was like, well, do you even know what these people were locked up for? She's like, nope, but I'm sure their families are really concerned about their future welfare. Like, or you guys don't know nothing about, how are you going to make a statement and not know what you're talking about? This stuff happens all the time on the left. They just throw statements out there because it's the narrative. But when they don't realize Joe pardoned half of hell. There's half the fallen angels are now released. Congratulations. Look, Danny, I'm not real sure, but I feel like, are you Irish? Because I feel like you just spoke a whole lot of Irish to me. But yes, Joe Biden is a donkey's arse for sure. Nothing he does thrills me. The guy just needs to just stop doing stuff. Just sit down. Well, you know what? Take the rest of your vacation time to Rehoboth Beach and just sit there and don't do nothing. Trump's got this. I agree, G bro. We got 4 great years coming. We're going to see a drastic change in the American government. I'm heavily excited. We've been due for this for a long, long time. I'm really happy with what I'm seeing coming out of his cabinet guys even though they're not confirmed yet, they're already doing stuff. And I heavily like that. That just shows me that, generally this would be Donald Trump's lame duck presidency, but you're not seeing that. You're seeing these guys getting their ducks in a row to get ready to start working as soon as they get in there. And this is probably going to be the most epic presidency in American history. And so I'm excited to see that. He's basically telling everybody how it's going to be. Justin Trudeau up in Canada is now the governor of Canada, which I'm sure he's heavily thrilled about that. I'm never going to not call him. He's never going to be the prime minister anymore. He's always going to be the governor of Canada from now on. So I want to cover up, or not cover. I'm not covering up nothing, but I want to cover the United Healthcare case with Luigi. We're talking about Luigi and Brian Thompson. So I want to explain something because there's a misconception in this whole case, especially amongst these young kids. And I think there's a lot of plot twists left in this case. Things don't add up. There's a lot of, I would be willing to bet. You know what? I'm going to say it because I already have half the world trying to get at me. Might as well add another group. I think the Italian mafia in Baltimore has something to do with this. I think all of that links to them. I've always been suspecting that since this happened, I'm like, oh, that's a mob job. And I think it is. I'm going to get back to you, Danny, on that one because I see where you're going with that. But when we're looking at this United Healthcare situation, so since Brian Thompson's died, United Healthcare has lost $41.6 billion. And that's from 5 days ago. So it's probably more now. So all these young progressives out there going, yeah, sticking it to the man. That's $41 billion they lost. Hold the fort because that's not how it works. Yes, United Healthcare will take that hit, but United Healthcare is a subsidy of United Health Group, which is the big dog of this whole United Health system. That is it. They are a major player. You don't even see United Healthcare on anything. It's United Health Group. That is what you see on the Fortune 500 and all the S&P and all that. So the top holding companies of United Health Group are the big 3 asset management companies: BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, the culprits of everything. Now, if you're Larry Fink and you're the CEO of BlackRock and you're looking at these losses from United Health Group, are you going to panic? For one, your asset management company is worth $17 trillion. It's probably worth more now. But last time I looked, it was worth $17 trillion. And we're looking at $41.6 billion. That's a drop in the bucket to BlackRock. So, but to United Healthcare, it's not. That's a big hunk of money. So what is going to happen is BlackRock is going to take, so just to let you know, there are over two to 300 healthcare insurance groups and healthcare groups that BlackRock has holdings for. So United Healthcare is not the only one. So BlackRock is going to take their investments for a while. Well, since the stock's gone down on United Healthcare, they're probably going to buy more of them. And then they're going to build up these other companies under their umbrella. They're going to invest over here for a while until United Healthcare can get built back up. And then they're going to sell off some of the stocks that they just bought for a lot cheaper than what they had originally bought them for. So this is a nothing burger to them. This is just like when the conservatives, when the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing happened with Bud, and everybody's like, Budweiser, boycott them. They like the transgenders on there. Yeah, that's great and everything. We cost Budweiser billions of dollars. However, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard own Budweiser. They also own Modelo. They also own every other beer company on the planet. So did they really hurt them? No, we didn't hurt the problem. We just hurt a stick, like a tree branch of the problem. And so what they did was they said, well, okay, well, we'll let Budweiser clean up their mess, but we're going to invest over here for a while in these other beer companies and build them up while Budweiser recovers and saves grace. However, Budweiser did not recover like they thought they were going to. They're still not making as much money as what they did, but they've recovered a little bit from the Dylan Mulvaney whole debacle. So we're not really hurting them. If you're a progressive liberal and you think that this is a successful operation, it is not. At the end of the day, you're just taking the power brokers of the world and you're shifting their focus onto something else while the smoke blows over on what got damaged. It's like attacking the Death Star. You're not gonna, if you shoot a bunch of pew pews at it, you're not gonna blow up the Death Star. It's just not gonna happen. It's too big to blow up. I mean, granted, it did blow up in the end of Star Wars, but let's pretend like it didn't. So you're not really hurting it. And we think we are, but we're not. At the end of the day, the money just gets shifted into another sector or another company. So I hate to break it to you, but until America starts thinking bigger than what we see, then we need to think bigger than that. We're not going to get anywhere until we break up the monopoly of the 3 asset management companies, just like my book, The Swiss Effect, suggests. I broke all that down, and this is why I get threatened all the time. I just got extorted this weekend because I'm guessing because of my book. Someone tried to extort me. So I constantly get attacked because this book is out. And it's because I know I'm right. If we continue to allow, I call it a triopoly because it's 3 trillion-dollar asset management companies that monopolize everything. If BlackRock owns Pepsi, guess what? They also own Coca-Cola. This pattern is everywhere. They own the company and they own the competitor, so they can manipulate the markets as they please. They will never go under unless we use our legislation to initiate the antitrust laws against the big 3 asset management companies. Otherwise, it's going to continue to go on. Now, the asset management companies are very big and powerful, but they are a tool. They are a tool of the European shadow government. And I also name exactly who those people are in my book. So I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to make you buy my book and read it. But those people puppeteer the asset management companies because they initiate their like socialist 17 sustainable development goals and all these other Klaus Schwab policies that he's trying to initiate. And he goes to the big 3 and says, here, make your companies do this. So all these DEI things and all these woke policies, they filter down to all the companies that we see on the ground here. And that's why we have such a big a big influence of it here in the United States. Why it happened, and it happened so fast, is because Europe initiated it. They brought it to the asset management companies, and the asset management companies filtered it down to all the other companies that we deal with on a regular basis. So that's how they infiltrated our economic system, and that's how they initiated like social justice issues and clean energy issues, which we now know that clean energy causes more pollution than what the old way of doing it was. So it's just best to just scrap the green energy initiative and just keep doing things the way we were doing it. But they don't want to show you all that data because the data is damaging to the agenda. But I promise you the data is out there if you dig far enough. So that, Danny, to answer your question, he says it's like an expense war. And he wanted to know, why do they do this BS to Budweiser? They do it because it's a feeler. They threw that out there knowing that Budweiser generally stands for masculinity, right? So that was the Cowboys beer, Budweiser. Get it? You got a Budweiser in your hand, you're a real man. So what they did was they tested this gender identity policy on the hardest demographic in America. Said, here, if they'll accept it, we're good. But it got rejected heavily and it cost them billions of dollars. So they knew that that's not going to work on that demographic yet. So it's all like market manipulating and what's going to work and how is it going to work. And so, yes, and kind of. We beat. I mean, the Dems weren't there at that time, but we beat Europe in 1776, and they're still trying to manipulate us, and that's the problem. So, and then you go on to talk about World War II. So everybody'd be speaking German if we hadn't gone over there and helped them, and that's a fact. We have these things that are happening, and Europe, the biggest bloodline families of the world are still active to this day, and so they still initiate an immense amount of power. Okay, so they're just dispersing it further into the globe. It's just like I had a friend when I was talking about some of the issues that I was going through. My friend told me, my friend said, well, I'm thinking about moving to Zimbabwe. Why don't you come with me? And so I was like, okay, let me look into Zimbabwe. So I looked into Zimbabwe. The first thing I found was there's a major mining outfit there that is out of London, England, and they pretty much run the country. So it's this European movement, especially out of England, is much bigger. France is involved too, and Germany's involved. It's much bigger than what we think it is. What I explain in my book is there is a massive movement by the United Nations to seize all of the major natural resources that they can get their hands on. So that's why they're heavy in Africa right now, is because there's a lot of untapped potential down there, and they're trying to steal it. We're looking at a modern day colonization again. But the thing is so they've created their system around progressivism because that's the they can get these young kids passionate and they can manipulate them to do things. So that's an easy target group that they try to get. So what they do is they get these kids and they get them fired up on these social justice issues and on these clean energy initiatives, and then they get them to do crazy stuff. But what they don't realize is these kids, especially, they do not have a single clue that the people that are handing them these George Soros checks and everything else, they're the ones who are destroying the system that they're fighting for. And it would be nice if this younger generation would finish waking up to it, because they're walking right into the trap. It's to me, it's really easy to see, but I look at this stuff every day, and I pay very, very close attention to Europe all the time. And there's a reason for everything. And our enemy is not, I mean, Russia's always on the radar. I'm not going to count them out. Iran is always on the radar, but I'm not going to count them out. All these countries that our government sits here and feeds us that they are these ultimate enemies. Yeah, they're enemies, they're adversaries, whatnot. But the real enemy is the European Union, and mainly out of London. They are trying to destroy this country from the inside out. And their tentacles have been in us for a long time. And we are probably, in the last few years, a lot of people are starting to see it. And I've been seeing it for a while because I pay close attention to Europe. There's a reason why our media doesn't report on things that happen in Europe very much. Is because they don't want us to know what Europe's doing, because they're always up to no good. If you go look at everything based out of Switzerland, like the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, just to name a few, if you look at the heads and the directors of all of those companies or those organizations and look into their political backgrounds, every single one of them is ran by either an admitted socialist, an admitted Marxist, or an admitted communist. There is nobody running those organizations in Switzerland that are ran by somebody who represents a constitutional republic or a democratic republic. None of them, not one single one of them. They're all ran by socialists and communists and Marxists. So that was my red flag when I was writing the book. I was like, holy crap, we are infiltrated by the very thing that we've been fighting against for a long time here, to keep those types of people out of here. And their tentacles are so deep. They're in our government already. They're in our military. They've got them in our education system. And that's why Donald Trump has had to come in, and he's doing such a drastic flip of the government, is because he knows it has to happen. We have to get those poisonous people out of our government. So hopefully that makes sense to all you guys, and I described it the best that I can. But yeah, basically United Healthcare, we dented them, but we didn't really hurt them. And you can assassinate every single CEO in the country, and it's not going to change anything, because we're not attacking the right thing. We got to attack the big three asset management companies, and that's not going to happen without congressional legislation. So hopefully, if the Democrats are really wanting to get money from the large corporations, that they'll do it that way, because that's the way you get them. So let me catch up on these. Danny, I'm going to agree with you. To save America, we gotta. So I'm not going to sit here and say that climate is a giant hoax. I think it's important that we take care of our planet. Do I think the world's going to blow up tomorrow? No. But I do, like here in Atlanta, where I live, when you drive around all the freeways and the interstates, I can always tell when it's springtime here, because I'll see mattresses all over the highways. And I don't want to see that stuff. That stuff, it takes so much time for those things to decompose. And it always takes people months to go get them, and, get them off the side of the highways. I don't want to see stuff like that. I want to see vegetation. I want to see clean highways. I don't want to see all that littering. I don't want to have air that I can't breathe. I don't want to see all these carbon emissions out there. But do I think that the world's going to blow up tomorrow? No. So yeah, the climate situation, we can do more to help the climate. I don't see anything wrong with that. But we do need to get rid of these donkeys and rhinos. I'm 100% behind you on that. Like all these bad actors that we've been putting up with for a long time. Like I can't stand to see Adam Schiff on TV, because the dude just spews hatred and lies every day. He's got to go. G Bro, you talk about Caitlin Clark. I am not up to date on what Caitlin Clark says. So now I'm interested to see what she had to say. Okay, Danny, I see what you're saying. So yeah, it's a crisis with all these donkeys and rhinos in charge. You're right. It wasn't a crisis until they made it a crisis. And yeah, we've been infiltrated. We've been infiltrated by the people who want to oppress the average citizen, and it's time to kick them out. Let's get them out of here. Get. So I'm going to give a quick shout out to my guys, the Grayson Rams. This hat back here, they're in the state championships in football. This, I believe, Wednesday they play Carrollton's battle of the two greatest football schools in Georgia. So I'm a Grayson fan, diehard. So hopefully they pull out the win. Yes, they did fund the Wuhan virus, and there's a lot of fingers on that one. I hope Trump jumps into that and really digs in to find out who exactly all was involved in that. And I'm going to throw in that that Putin claims that there are more labs that he found in Ukraine, which would make sense why we have, as corrupt American politicians, are so vested into the Ukraine, because they've got all these little facilities there they've been running. So there's a lot of dirt in that country. I could probably sit here and talk about how much corrupt things are happening in the Ukraine all day long. Especially with, and like I said, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard are making a fortune off of that war. Because guess who the top shareholders are of all of the private military contractors that are making all the weapons that are getting used over there? You guessed it, the big three asset management companies. These guys are a cancer to every aspect of our American society. And the reason why all of our prices are high, it stems from them. They're making drastic reactions to things that when they want to get price hikes, they make them happen. And we got to get those guys under control. They got a monopoly on stuff, and we don't have a competitive market anymore. Oh, I did not know that the Burning Man Festival is in Black Rock, Nevada. Now that's a rabbit hole to go down. I got to go down that rabbit hole now. So, but that's all the time I got on my show today. I want to thank G Bro and Danny for jumping in and participating in the comment section. That was a lot of fun. You guys provided me with a lot of good info. I'm gonna look into that Caitlin Clark thing too. I'm not up to date on that, but I want to make sure everybody stays safe. Watch your surroundings. The inauguration is just around the corner. I don't put nothing past nobody right now. So just pay attention to who's around you. Know where your kids are at. Have contingency plans put in place. Get your canned goods just in case. Better to be safe than sorry. I will talk to all you guys on Wednesday. I'm out.